What's going on, Central Unit? Is the Central Man here? So back again with another WCW pay-per-view review. Not pay-per-view review. Sorry, another review of WCW Monday Nitro. Yeah, I'm reviewing Monday Nitro for the 25th of December, 1995. This is the really a Christmas episode of Nitro and slash the go home show to Starcade 1995. So I'm trying to point out this episode. So, firstly, there's no Hulk Hogan on this show because Hogan got kayfabe suspended, and I think it's one of his breaks. Because stories that like Hogan takes his breaks from showing up on Nitro. They take some time off. He always come back if Nitro's ratings are up, and then he takes some credit. And also, why are they doing a Nitro on Christmas? I hope it's taped. I hope it's taped because Nitro is not really a taped show. If they taped it, that'll be fine. But if it's not taped, I don't understand why they did it. Why they totally do the show on Christmas? Why can't they just do like a best of, not best, but just like don't do the Christmas show, take it like a week off, and then just do wait until the night the Nitro after the pay-per-view. I don't understand why. It's just what it is. WWE. Raw did episode on Christmas. I don't mind doing it Christmas Eve. I understand that, but on Christmas Day, it's just like, really? This is a time for spending this day with your family. That's Christmas. It's for for your friends and family to celebrate. Not just like let's work on Christmas. Unless you're not celebrate Christmas, if you're Hindu, Muslim, Jewish, I understand that. But anyway, so yeah, WCW Monday Nitro, 25th of December, 1995. So before I get to the show near the piss, be right back. Anyway, so yeah, the commentators wearing like Christmas jumpers. Bit that is commentators for Nitro. That is Eric Bischoff, Bobby Heenan, and Mongo with the dog Peppy. That's really the name of Mongo's dog. The dog dressed up like Santa Claus, and I think yeah, Bischoff, Mongo, and Heenan wearing Christmas jumpers. Anyway, the first match to kick off the Christmas episode of Nitro. And by the way, they did another Nitro. I'm guessing this is 2 days before Starcade. You have to wait. You have to wait until tomorrow when I review WCW Starcade 1995. Anyway, so yeah, the first match to kick off the Christmas episode of Nitro. We got Lex Luger, the total package, with Jimmy Hart in his corner, taking on one half of the American males. That is Scotty Riggs. The match was okay. It wasn't a boring match. It was just filler, building Luger up for Starcade. In the end, Luger locked the torture rack onto Scotty Riggs to really to secure the victory. And then we got the first segment on this show. Basically, had Mean Gene interviewing Sting, brings up like this situation between him and Luger. Sting's trying to discontinue it, just don't want to say I don't want to talk about it. Maybe he did it like rightly, might did it wrongly. It brings up like Sting's match with Flair at World War III when he Sting locking the Scorpion Deathlock onto Flair. Not let it go. Yeah, it's just and talk about it kind of bring up the triangle match at Starcade. I'll try to keep it short and simple. These segments, these segments in the early years of Nitro in 1995, they were not really. It don't really do nothing for me. No one's like getting over on these segments. Anyway, and moving on to and speaking of Sting, the next match we've got Sting versus Big Bubba Rogers. That is, the formerly known as Big Boss Man. This is similar to the opener. It was okay, but not great. One more of the match. Sting, hits Bubba Rogers with the Face Buster. Rogers basically selling his face. Bubba Rogers has some offense. In the end, Sting basically picked up Rogers. Really, Sting is jacked. He's jacked. In the early days. In those 80s and 90s, he's jacked. And then when he was the evil, not evil Sting, but the Crow Sting. Old Black Sting. He was super. He lose a little bit of muscle mass. It could be, Sting. He was a bodybuilder, Steve Borden. He's not like Warrior. He's completely like jacked to the bone, a massive ball of muscle. Sting's got a decent physique, but Anyway, one more of them. Yeah, in the end, yeah. Basically, he kind of I think Bob Rogers going for a move off the top rope, but I think Sting kind of picked him off and rolled him up for a small package to score the victory. I've never seen Sting. Sting's never like pick up like big guys half his size. Sting is a tall dude. He's 6'3". Big Bob Rogers about 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". I think Sting's about 230, 240. I think he's 240. He's not really 250. I don't buy into his 250. He's probably 230, 240. He got that. Yeah, he picked Bob Rogers up with that super genetic strength. And that was it was cool to see. Yeah, the match was okay. Nothing worthy to special. Nothing worthy to talk about. So moving on to the next segment. The next segment we got Mean Gene interviewing Luger. Talked about Sting. Sting and I were still friends. We'll all be friends. And once again, he called himself the uncrowned WCW champion. I said to myself, you're already a world champion. I don't know. I think it was a 2-time world champion at the time. I don't know. I think it was a 5-time world champion. I don't know how many times he won the world title. I think he won 3 times. I just like what the fuck Luke talking about. Was it uncrowned WCW champion, and he talks about that I could be world champion, and Jimmy Hart's about to say something, and then you got Craig Pittman. Basically, he's doing the same shtick from the previous week's Nitro, asking, he wants a manager. He asked, the previous week, he asked Bobby Heenan to be a manager. He said, no, I'm a broadcaster now. And then he asked Jimmy Hart to be a manager. And he asked him to take off his t-shirt, and he's comparing Pittman's physique to Luger's physique. And is the difference, their physiques are totally different because Luger built like a brick shithouse. Pittman, he's not fat. His physique is so average. And he said, why did I? Jimmy Hart says, why do I want to hire you? And he said about here's a nickel. Call a manager knows had a few men. Basically, it's basically an army joke. Kind of shut him down. Pittman is just not a good worker. I don't think he's a good worker. I think he's a bit bang average. He's not really good on the mic. Yeah, and he had to basically, Jimmy Hart shut him down like I said. He said about here's a nickel. Call a manager about he's very good. Hire a few good guys. I'm trying to say. Sorry, can't remember what he said. So it's basically it's kind of like an army joke. He's basically shot Pittman down. Because I'm not saying Pittman's terrible, but he's never. I think he left in '96. Pittman is just. I think he was average. I think he pursued MMA after his run in WCW. That would be like late '90s, I think, in the early 2000s. Anyway, moving on to the next match. The next match, we got Dean Malenko versus Mr. JL. That is Jerry Lynn under a mask. The match was good. It was an okay match. It was actually a slightly decent match. I wish they had got more time. They're putting more time into the main event. It was back and forth. Jerry Lynn did like I think it was a Santon off the ring apron. Malenko is all mat style wrestling. In the end, he locked Jerry Lynn. I call him Jerry Lynn. Mr. JL. Can he be Jerry Lynn? He'd be Jerry Lynn in ECW, and then in the WWF in 2001. In the end, Malenko locked him with a leg lock to score the victory. And then we got the final interview segment for Mean Gene interviewing Ric Flair. He had some few words, and then you got Jimmy Hart again for the third time. He basically apologized for the previous week when basically him and Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan interfered, interrupted. He's was short-tempered. He said about like Flair saved his bacon. This was like on a Nitro in November. Was Savage about to attack Jimmy Hart, and he asked Flair to be his manager for one night at ringside, and Hart basically high fly Ric Flair. He's like high fi, low fi. He's in the afterwards we're gonna be Stein or profiling. He did the woo, and that was it. Not a good Ric Flair promo. I'm not saying Ric Flair's crap in promos. He's a good promo. It's not like a memorable promo. And then the main event, we got Randy Savage defending the WCW World Heavyweight Championship against Ric Flair. This is the first match since really in the summer of that year. They had the match at Bash at the Beach '95, because this is a feud of the year in WCW at the time between Randy Savage and Ric Flair, because Ric Flair returned at Uncensored. He interfered in the match between Randy Savage and Avalanche. That's John Tenta. I think he ditched that Avalanche name. I think it was due to like copyright issues by WWF. He's known as he changed the name to the Shark, and then I think it was that Slamboree. Flair and Anderson beat down Randy Savage's dad, Angelo Poffo. He had I don't say amazing match. Yeah, they had an amazing match, a good match at Great American Bash, and then they had a decent match at Bash at the Beach. So I don't call it. This is kind of like a sort of a renewed rivalry, but at the time they took a break because Randy Savage was in this this feud with Savage, not Savage. He's in this feud with Luger. Ric Flair is in this kind of like this feud with Sting. So basically, they took a bit of a break. Yeah, it kind of ended a rivalry at Bash at the Beach. Anyway, the match, it was okay. They had bad matches. It was slightly decent. Like a few seconds of this match, basically Savage locked Ric Flair in a figure four leg lock. Jimmy Hart interfered one more of the match. He kind of like stumped Savage outside of the ring at ringside. Referee didn't saw that. I think he got distracted. One more of the match, Savage. I think he was going for like an axe handle, but I think Flair, hit him in the gut, the stomach, or Savage completely missed him. He eats like one of the barricades. And then Flair basically worked on the leg of Randy Savage, locking in the figure four leg lock. In the end, he basically Savage stacked Jimmy Hart. Luger came to the ring, attacked Savage. The match ended the disqualification. And then you got Sting came to the rescue. Sting beat down Flair. And then Savage beat down Luger because they were feuding, still in this rivalry. And then in the end, Savage and Sting basically butt heads, and that was the end of the 25th of December's episode of Monday Nitro, the Christmas episode of Nitro, aka the go home show to Starcade. So anyway, a final rating for this episode of Monday Nitro is a 5.5 out of 10. These early episodes of Nitro, since its debuted, they were just subpar, mediocre shows. The first one was good. I've been like, I can't remember one of these episodes. I think it was in the October episode. That was a decent show. But besides that, it's just basically just like subpar. You know, Nitro get better. Don't get me wrong, it get better like in 1996, 97. You know, like because of the cruiserweights. You know, I think it kind of hint because the early days. It's just I'm not crapping up. It's just like he has some good workers, but it's just basically just slow matches, slow paced matches. You had some like, you know, some wrestlers like Guerrero. You had like wrestlers like Benoit, Malenko, Guerrero, JL. You know, they plant the seeds of the cruiserweight division. But besides that, it's just like, you know, it's just like those slow paced matches and you know shenanigans really hindered the shows. You know, I'm not saying they're bad shows. You know, people complain about the AEW shows. You know, the first few episodes of AEW Dynamite, you know the first few months of Dynamite, they were putting on some good to great shows. Nitro is the opposite. You know, the producing not say bad shows, but they produce like mediocre subpar shows. You know, like the only nothing really good. You know, like they're okay matches. You know, like the opener was okay. Sting versus Big Bobby Rogers was okay. I think I kind of like point in the good has to be Malenko versus Jerry Lynn, Mr. JL, Savage and Flair. It was slightly a decent match, but it was like hindered of the Luger interfered. You know, it's just like take it or leave it. But besides that, it was okay. Could be a lot better. So anyway, so I hope you enjoy my review of WCW Monday Nitro for the 25th of December, 1995. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, smash the like button, and subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube. Before I sign out, I'm going to address two things. I will review WCW Starcade 1995, and also in the first few weeks, really the first 2 weeks of January of 2021, I will review NXT. I think it's called New Year's Evil. It won't be on the same day. It'll be in the other day, probably in the second week of January of 2021. You gotta stay tuned to find out. Because I will cover NXT. Today's NXT product, and also I will review some classic takeover shows. That'll be in January of 2021. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, so like I said, hope you enjoy my review of WCW Monday Nitro, 25th of December 1995. Yeah, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back next week. Next week will be the 28th of December 1995. Really, the final Nitro of 1995 to close off really the bad year for WCW in 1995. Actually, it was bad. 1995 was a bad year in pro wrestling, not just in WCW, but also in WWF as well. So this is Such Man officially signing out. Check you later.